bit of that. Okay, guys, the basics. As far, you know, everybody's got their own way. This is my way. First of all, your table, sturdy as can be, plastic cutting board, and then on top of your plastic cutting board, a piece of leather. I always work onto a piece of leather. It saves my blades. It works great, takes all the abuse you can give at it. And I think it's way cheaper than anything else. And it keeps your blade sharper because it's the same material that you're cutting through is what's taking the cut at the bottom. The same applies for punching and the same applies for stamping. The difference is on stamping and punching, I don't use a plastic board. I use, if my wife will go a little bit backwards, okay, I use a marble on top of the table so it doesn't absorb shock. And if I'm punching on the marble, I put leather on top. The only time I don't use leather is if I'm stamping or modeling leather straight onto it. And the other thing about the marble, it also makes a great tool for gluing your sandpapers on to correct your blades, sharpen your blades. Talking about blades, you need to either take a piece of wood like this, or you take a strap and attach it to the table. Okay, one side suede side up, other side leather side up. On the suede side up, you get yourself a bit of buffing compound, rub that on, and then it's a matter of stropping your blades, which is pretty simple. And if your edge is correct from beforehand, this will keep your blade sharp. And use it as often as possible. Don't wait for your blade to go blunt, because if it does, you're going to have to put it onto, go and sharpen it with some sandpaper again, and that's just wears you away a blade way too quick. Any of these things, by the way, if you need, we can get to you. It's not a problem. Just get hold of us, we'll sort it out. All right, so that's your basics as far as keeping how you're going to work. And it even goes to the point, please pause that, yeah, that when you're punching a hole with your revolving punch, I'm just trying to find the leather. When you're going to punch a hole, the anvil on your revolving punch really never sits square. So if you go and punch a hole over there straight like that, you're doing one of these actions to get it through. If, however, you go put another piece of leather behind it, one easy punch, should be one easy punch, excuse me, and the hole is through. Okay, so use a piece of leather behind it. When you're punching a hole, you'll always get a clean hole and you're not going to have to twist. By the way, when you do get into this position that you are twisting your revolving punch on your piece of leather, you actually end up twisting the whole thing completely out of shape and breaking the tool. So always use a piece of leather in whatever you're cutting or punching. Now, something pretty simple. Stamping, or at least putting a press stud into two pieces of leather. So I'm going to use, to make the hole, I'm going to use a punch to make the hole. I find you get a neater, nicer, easier hole in your piece of leather. Excuse my leathers, and here's my hammer. That's on the small side, but you want a small hole, and I went completely through. So there we go. You got your 2 holes. Quite a simple process. You put your male of the rivet through bottom there, and to the other piece of leather that you're going to be punching into. I'll move this box. Easy. I've got to re-punch that hole.
If this meeting ends, we'll immediately start a new one. So you'll just go straight into a new meeting.
Okay, so now you've got the male of your rivet going through. You go and put the head on, which clips on quite simply, like so. Now, because it's a double-headed rivet, you need an anvil that's got a curve to it so that you don't flatten the back of the rivet, and you need a rivet setter with a curve on it as well so that you don't flatten the top of it. In this instance, I'm going to do it on my marble. 2 easy punches, and you've got a rivet set and done. Now, I must tell you, these tubular rivets are so far stronger than what people think. It's unbelievable. You really can't pull these across, and mainly because the stress is a shearing stress, not a it won't pull across it at all. Exactly the same thing is done for press studs. But a press stud, I need a bit of a bigger size. Take my strap, piece of leather, and I want to put a press stud in here. Okay. Now on the face side of it, you obviously put the cap, which goes through quite easily. And in this instance, we're going to have this coming around like so. So on the back side of that, we put the back end or the male. Then we take the female that fits onto the cap. You take your curved anvil, put that on the back, and then you get what's called a line 24 dot setter, or just a press stud setter. You put that into, the middle of your press stud, and you just give it a nice tap down, and lo and behold, your head or your female, your cap is now in. On the back end, you put the male. Now, if you don't have a piece of marble or an anvil or a piece of metal to work on, you take your disc that's cut, and at the back of it, you've got a flat edge that you can work on. In this instance, I have a piece of marble, so it's going to work straight onto it. 1, 2. It's in. It's done. It's that simple. Any of these things, you guys, you need to know, you don't understand, you need parts for it. If we can help anyway, explain anything, please don't hesitate to call us at 011-614-6141. We'll do our best to help you.